everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to my booktube channel. My name is Kat and today we're going to be talking about all the books that I read during the month of May. So if you guys watched a previous video of mine when I talked about my May TBR, I did talk about the fact that there was a new video game, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, coming out that I was really excited for, and I already knew that it was going to throw off my reading for the month, and I was right, it absolutely did, but that didn't stop me from still reading 6 great books. And let's go ahead and dive in and start talking about them. So the first book that I read this month was really a book that I kind of just found scrolling through Kindle Unlimited, trying to find something that might pique my interest because I was in a bit of a reading slump. And so I ended up picking up The Surgeon by Leslie Wolfe. So The Surgeon is a thriller, which honestly majority of the books I read through Kindle Unlimited are thrillers, just because that is a heavily saturated genre on Kindle Unlimited. But I had never heard of the author before and it sounded intriguing. Essentially, we follow our main character, who is a very famous, reliable, very well-respected heart surgeon whose main appeal is that she has never had a patient die. Even during open heart surgeries and very intense surgeries that typically most doctors and surgeons have a couple fatalities within their career. She's had 0. She's on billboards everywhere because of it. She's their famed surgeon and the reason the hospital is so well respected for their heart department, if you will. However, of course, thriller comes in. So a patient ends up dying on the table and the reasons are very unknown. Our main character is replaying the events in her head and she can't figure out what happened. She sees no reason that this could have gone wrong, but it kind of goes into who the patient was, her relation to the patient. Did she know the patient beforehand? And her husband is a lawyer, so he becomes involved because he's trying to get promoted and this becomes an open case. And yeah, we really just see the events of this play out and see, was this death on purpose or not? Is she a murderer? Should she be tried? Should she lose her job? So the book on Goodreads has 4.08 stars. It was pretty highly rated, which is one of the reasons that I did end up choosing this as opposed to some others. But I only gave it 3 stars, and the more I think about it, I just changed it to a 2-star in my Goodreads. This book was all right. It wasn't anything spectacular, but it wasn't bad per se. But by the time I reached the end and we were tying up everything, I was just kind of exhausted by the plot. I kind of didn't have interest in it anymore. I didn't see the point. I thought it dragged on a little too long and it just didn't really fit into place properly. The things that they were saying made sense, but just it wasn't thrilling, it wasn't shocking. It felt like I was literally just reading about this happening to this woman. There wasn't much suspense or anything involved. If you're into thrillers that involve wealthy people, cheating, I don't know, things like that, maybe you'd like this. It just wasn't really my cup of tea. But that was the first book I read this month. The next book that I picked up was Beach Read by Emily Henry, which was one of the books that I really wanted to read this month, and I'm so glad that I finally finished it. In my previous video, I believe I did talk about the fact that last year I actually picked up this book and I got about 30% of the way through and DNF'd it. I was in a big reading slump and that's my only explanation, because I remember really enjoying the book then. And of course I started over. I didn't start from the 30% mark, but I loved this book, as literally everybody else does. The premise of the book is that we have a girl named January who is an author, and after her dad's tragic passing, she finds out some things about him that are not the greatest. He had an affair, and she ends up moving into the house that he had with the other woman and trying to write a novel, and she's really struggling. And then she finds out that her next door neighbor is Gus, who actually was her rival in college, and he's also an author. She writes romances and he writes kind of literary fiction, more deep brooding stuff, heavy stuff. And so they kind of have this banter going on, and they decide to challenge each other to write a book of the opposite genre, and they're gonna like help each other figure it out. And it obviously is a romance. Romance ensues, and we follow January and Gus on figuring out how they're gonna write these books and their bond growing as it happens. So this book is rated 4.03 stars on Goodreads, and I gave it a 4 stars. Now, I know everybody and their mom says that this is a 5-star read for them. I just didn't feel the push to give it that 5 stars. It's definitely a solid like 4 to a 4.5, but not a 5-star. Next up, I took quite a turn and I went in the fantasy direction. And I'm actually not going to talk too much about this book because I uploaded an entire reading vlog and review on it, and that is The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. Basically, I'm just going to tell you guys, it's a fantasy book. It is super hyped up on TikTok right now. It involves fae, vampires. It's a vibe. It's great. If you love ACOTAR or anything Sarah J Maas, you're going to love it. So I highly recommend it, and I gave it 5 stars. But once again, I'm gonna link that video up here because I think it's actually a really, really great video. It's one of my favorite videos I've done in a long time. For the final 3 books that I read this month, they were all part of a series, and that is the Mindfuck series by St. Abbey. Now, if you have not heard me talk about these before, because I don't know if I've mentioned them in a video, they are very short. They're all about 150 pages, and it is a 5-book series involving a woman, Lana Myers, who is a revenge serial killer, and she ends up meeting and falling in love with an FBI agent who is assigned to her case. Obviously, he has no idea that she is the serial killer, and I can't tell you too much specifics about these last 3 books without giving away major plot points, but these final 3 books I gave 4 and 5 stars. I cannot say enough good things about this series. If you like a dark romance, and I don't mean like a dark romance and like they're doing weird things or like dark things, I just mean the topics are dark. If you like that kind of dark romance, I highly, highly, highly recommend these. They're so quick to read. I mean, I read the final 3 in a span of 5 days. They were each, like I said, about 150 pages, and phenomenal books. However, after I finished them, I was like, you know what? I need to see if this girl has some more books. These are also on Kindle Unlimited. And I tried looking it up, and it turns out that this author actually passed away in a car accident a couple years ago. But St. Abbey is also C.M. Owens, who has written like 100 books under that name. She just has different pen names for the different genres she does. So C.M. Owens is known more for like a traditional, like, you know, the tiny little romance books that like your mom buys to read at the beach, like from Goodwill. It's like that kind of genre. I don't know what I would specifically call that, but it's those kind of vibes. But I'm thinking about picking up one of those because I did love the style of writing of these so much that I can't imagine that it would be too much different. If you have read a C.M. Owens or St. Abbey book before and want to let me know about it though, I would greatly appreciate it, and I would love to know some details. Sorry guys, I ordered food and it got here while I was filming, but that concludes my what I read in the month of May video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye.